listening to the podcast To Be Single or Not to Be by Shanna Montana, a podcast where we talk about the single life, dating, and relationships so you can make a decision at the end of each episode and decide to be single or not to be. That is the final question.
All right, so today's topic is It Just Might Not Be the Right Fit, Part 2. And as you all heard last week, there was a lot more that needed to be said on this topic, so much so that we had to come back for Part 2. And I wanted to bring in some reinforcements to help us drive into this discussion even further. So let's welcome back some familiar faces and a new guest who is blessing us with his presence today on the show. So today we have James Bush, Counselor James, who is of Mind of a Man podcast. Did I say it right? Mind of a Man?
That's right.
All right, Mind of a Man podcast. So say what's up to the listeners.
How y'all doing out there?
They making it, hopefully.
Right.
Up next we have Miss Cara. Welcome back. Say what's up.
What's up? What's up? Y'all know what time it is.
Yes, time for the foolery. And last but not least, we have Miss Nikki H, who's been blessing us a few times this season.
Hey, what's good, everybody?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So we're going to get right to it. So on part one, guys, let you all know, we talked a lot about how one may wind up in a partnership that's not a good fit, or how they may end up with somebody that's not willing to really do the work of what a relationship looks like in order to sustain it. And the result of that really could be because they're a bad fit. They're a bad matchup. Like, I'm just not your person. Doesn't mean we're bad people, but just means that me and you not the people for one another. So I want to kick this off by asking you all to humor me and let me know if you all have ever been in a situation or a relationship and at some point you knew that this shit was not it, but you still stayed around. If you ever did that, which I know you niggas have, why did you do it? Tell me what went on and why did you stay well past your welcome? The card looked like she got something to say. Talk to me.
Lord, this is the plight of the Pisces, baby. we love to love them, honey. I don't know why. The red flags be burning us up, and we like, but he all right, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he lived with his mama. We all did, but But I think wisdom and age and experience, it teaches us what we like and what we can deal with and what we can tolerate.
Right.
I think we all had to kind of go that wrong fits to find a right fit or a decent fit to even say what my fit is. Yeah. I can definitely say when I first charted these dating waters early on, it just was a lot of just, I got my list. All right. And then you start thinking, okay, some of the stuff gonna have to come off the list. Yeah. And some of the stuff is gonna have to be a hard stop. Yeah. I know in the past episodes I talked about just that prep boo mentality. Yeah. A lot of times us highly educated girls end up being prep boos sometimes for guys that we think are in our category.
For the listener that may not remember.
A prep boo is when you've done the ring the alarm work. You've done everything, been the good woman. You've done all the things, checked all the boxes, and they're just not ready for you. But their next relationship, you've actually cultivated them and cultured them to be ready for the next woman. So you may not have been one, but your show got her man ready for it.
Like no girl on 2 can play that game. The one that was dating Bobby Brown, Tasha Mack.
Yeah.
That's it.
You end up in prep boo, preparing them. So
for the other.
In that case, you weren't the fit.
True.
But the next one was. So James, from a man's perspective, have you ever stayed well past when you were welcome? Because men are notorious for leaving as soon as some shit don't sound right, feel right, look right. Y'all out. So what's been your experience in that?
I mean, it could be a couple of different things. I mean, sometimes you can stay off of cultural or religious ideations. saying that, okay, because it's the church and they tell you that, there is no divorce or there is no separation in that matter, you just say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to roll till the wheels fall off or so like that. But in all actuality, like Cara and like you guys are saying, it is a bad fit because they don't have the same values. They don't have the same ideas. They're not going the same places, and everybody can't ride that ride. Right. And so when it comes to that point, you're saying to yourself, okay, man, what am I doing? And what I found is, even for guys, guys are not exempt from this as well, too. Sometimes we don't really know ourselves. We're not self-aware. We haven't kind of done the work to kind of see, what do I like? Who am I? What makes me me? And who can compliment me and who can I compliment in those moments? And so it's like a level of reciprocation that's taking place. But if I can't reciprocate, if I can't be reciprocated to, and I can't reciprocate to the other individual, then it is not a good fit. Yeah. And it's okay. And I think sometimes when we stay longer than we're supposed to, then you get all the foolery. Then you get all the cops getting called out, and then all the other kind of shenanigans that come with that. Or then you get the on-break cheating, or then the random texts, the iPhone at 11 or 1 at night, lighting up the whole room. Like, man, it's like it's a disco ball, And so we in them moments right there, and you say to yourself, man, this just is not working. And you wondering, it's like, why is it not? Because your time is up, and it's been up. But for some reason, you have it in your mind that this is what I'm going to continue to do because of some type of standard that doesn't even really apply to you. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that it's a genderless concept. We try to base ourselves on standards that don't fit us.
Ooh. Absolutely.
Because I'm sitting here thinking about times where I knew time was up, but I'm like, I'm going to make this shit work. I'm going to make this nigga.
Absolutely.
Because you put your time in.
Yeah.
Like, I've invested. I would like to reap some benefits.
Yeah, at least some.
At some point in time.
So, Nikisha, what has been your experience with that?
Definitely been a victim.
Okay.
Definitely knew better. Now I do better. But I will say is that when I think about being in something I knew was not a right fit, I feel like at that point, when you know it's not a right fit, you're trying to force it. You're basically trying to prove to yourself, like, no, I got to be, like, I am that good. I am this person to this person. I am a good woman or a good man for the guys out there. Yeah. So you're forcing something that's not going to naturally sync up. And that's where we all end up in those spinning wheels of, like, that's when we have all our arguments. That's when we have all the accusations of you cheating, you don't love me, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. And that's because somebody's not fitting with somebody, or we just don't mesh well together. And I've had to learn the hard way, of course. Been a prep boo, as Cara said. Yeah. And just had to realize that your person is just not who you at that moment, like, think is that person. Your person is someone who you all naturally have that fit, that attraction to each other. And you shouldn't have to force one or the other, to link up with the other person. So, at this point, I've realized, you just gotta hold true to what yourself as a person desires and what you want. And you can't force that on someone else. You can voice it, but if they don't link up with what that is, then it's just a no-go at that point.
Ooh, Keisha, you said two good points. One thing that you kind of pulled on was knowing when to let go. A lot of times it's so hard for us to admit failure.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't work because somebody failed. And that's the hardest. Ooh, when you hit that point, you're like, no. We would. That's bae. That's my rolling. But, time, experience, life can make you grow in different directions. Right. And what was fitting, all of a sudden, just, you outgrow sometimes. Yeah. And it's hard to let that stuff go. I got shit in my closet that I'm still trying to fit into that I need to let go. But some of these relationships be like that. Yeah. You got a closet full of shit that you need to let go. Yeah. And that's so, when that just kind of hit something right there. This hit dog from the hollow on that. You hit that right there, Keisha, of just having to kind of let things go and that getting failure of that shit just didn't work. Yeah. We just don't fit, think about, like, a lot of times your first love, your little high school sweetheart. Man, we're going to be together forever. Hello, first day of college. Hello, new booty. Oh, wow. It's like this everywhere. Yeah. All of a sudden, taste, experience, exposure changes your mindset on what your fit may be as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
True.
And were you going to add something, James? Earlier you had to.
No, I'm just piggyback on what Nikisha and Cara was saying is that sometimes I think that it's that threat or that fear of them being with someone else after us. It keeps us in bondage. It's like a prison that we prepare, and it's a self-imposed prison where we take all the crap, we take all the garbage, we take all of those things that don't necessarily correspond or complement us in that moment, and then we just continue because we're in fear in that moment. And unfortunately, when we're acting in fear, that's not love. That's the opposite of love, you know.
Right.
And so what we have to do is we have to kind of strip. What is the goal in all of this? Sometimes, man, it's okay to say, you know what, this is preparing me for something else.
Yeah.
And being honest with yourself and being real in that moment. So it's like, okay, I'm being prepped. This is going to have an expiration, but she's still cool. I'm still cool. And we're going to go on from after this. Whenever it does, do what it do.
Yeah.
That's real.
They said that no.
But James, what if you the one that got away though?
Huh?
What if the one that got away? I'm a Pisces.
If they got away, they
smile, baby.
I'm gonna tell you something real quick. If it's away from you, it's a reason it's away from you.
There you go.
No, if it's away, it's a reason it's away.
That brother or that sister was supposed to get away if they got away.
They were supposed to get away.
You let's say a bird, you let it fly, you release it. If it come back to you, it's meant to be yours. But if it come back these days, in 2020, it might have COVID, so you don't want it.
Look. Even 50 Cent, man, knew when he had to cut G Unit loose. You know? Just being honest.
He never let him go, though. He's still torturing them boys. And he never let him go.
It's like Beyonce knew when to leave Destiny's Child. You know, people know when it's time
to go. People know.
Leave and sing.
Yeah.
I'm still a little upset about that, you know, but still. Look, he could have stayed for like one more album, but that's see. So I want to ask, do this. So I'm going to ask a question because it's going to lead to something else. I'll ask you all, do you all think that relationships affect your overall happiness and well-being more than anything else in your life?
Oh, God, yeah. Yes. You think about it. This is your vulnerable space. Mm-hmm. A lot of times on our jobs, we have to carry ourselves away. We have to fit this mold for the job. You know, with our families, we play a role. But in a relationship, this is like your raw, real, uncut version of you.
Yeah.
This person has seen you in all facets of you. Yeah. And that, you know, just speaking from like the space I'm in now, right. When you walk away from some things and when you're transitioning from some things, it is like the death of all deaths.
Yeah.
While you're alive. And it's like losing a part of you that you've been growing for so long and having to really like let that go. That is hard. That kind of accepting that level of transition. And then not just the fear of letting that go, but the fear of, oh God, what's next?
Yeah.
I've been so focused on this for so long, trying to make this work. Mm-hmm.
Like when James was mentioning about like we tend to not want to let a relationship go because we afraid of like, oh, they're going to get something better after me, things like that. So I asked that question, you know,
cool.
I do think that.
I don't give a fuck. Don't let that I'm all right with that.
That's how you know you because I know now cool. My exes, I don't give a fuck who they with. Like,
who you with, you know? Hey, get your bell money together. But anyway.
They messed that after me, what James? James said I'm the best. Everything
with that
one. So,
since you heard that.
My thing is that if people know that, you know, relationships affect our lives and our happiness and well-being in such a major way, like all of our life, why do we play with relationships and love like this, knowing that it will fucking destroy us? Why do we still play this game?
When you're meant to be alone.
Or it's a way of control. Like we are, you know, we as human beings feel like we have control over so many things when in reality, you really only have control over yourself, your actions, how you react to things. But when it comes to relationship, you have somebody who's willing to take a risk with you in this sensitive space.
Yeah.
And when you, especially some people, when they see that the things that they do can control the way another person moves, how they react to things, how their day goes. I mean, for some people, that shit's fun.
That's
unfortunately, so it's like some people that it is a game to them, or it's just for them to exert some sort of a power over one particular aspect of their life. But who the hell has time at this point?
I'm just trying to figure out why. I think we just stupid, because I feel like relationships, especially breakups, I know for me, are very debilitating. They will shut your world down. Like you can't function. So why do we be out here with the fuck around when it comes to these people? Like, we know it ain't it. We still hold on to a sinking ship. We know that we need to move on. We know that's not our person, but we still trying to play tic-tac-toe with this nigga. So
because it's short-sightedness. I think it's a lot of times it's short-sightedness. If you've been on Jefferson, nobody offended by living on this road, because I somewhat grew up on this road in college. If you've been on Jefferson Street for the last 15 to 30 years or so like that, that's all you've seen. That's all you've known. You ain't never seen West End, or you've never seen Broad Street, Murfreesboro, 40, 24, 60. You ain't never known or experienced any other kind of stuff. Your vision is somewhat, tunneled. It's kind of like, pretty much you got the blinders and the blockers on, so you don't know that there's other things out there. There's other individuals who could be matched and fit and do well by you or so. So I think sometimes that is the case right there, where it's like, sometimes it's the fear that I'll never find anybody else, so I might as well settle for this because it's been so long, and now companionship is not happening. I'm near almost 40. I want a child, but guess what? My biological clock is ticking, and I'm not finding any suitors. This dude just got out of jail, and I don't even know what's going on with that. Or this dude, he got about 2 other baby mamas. It's a horrible situation, and maybe if I squint real hard, I might can make something work out of this. And so again, it's short-sightedness. But sometimes it's ignorance in that as well too, because you don't know that you can do better. You don't value yourself enough in the moment, and so because you don't value yourself, you allow anybody that comes in your life to do whatever they want to do. So instead of you coming home and having that peace and being able to lay your head down, chill, relax after fighting all the corporate America all throughout the day, or whatever your job preference of choice is, you go and you take out that unnecessary energy sometimes because you don't know that there is better and you can do better for who you are measured up to.
Mm-hmm. Or we're chasing the high of what was. Sometimes we stay into some stuff. We're trying to get back to where it was, at that peak. Yeah. And it's like, if I could just get us back to there, chasing that high. That was in one of my horoscopes one time. It said, don't fall victim to chasing the highs. Yeah. Because, sometimes we're thrill seekers in that. With love is such an intoxicating, infatuation, really. It's such an intoxicating feeling that a lot of times we spend so much energy chasing something that's already left. That phase is gone.
The love.
Cara, if it didn't work for the crack addict, it ain't going to work for us.
Yeah,
that's why they say chasing the high. And love is like a drug. That's why it's so hard to just hit it one time and go.
But that's why
you something like, I ain't never fooling nobody else.
That high that you mentioned, we talked about, that's really how we romanticize relationships. And it goes along with potential. We romanticize it like it's a fucking Disney movie. And then we think that this relationship has the potential for this person to be our husband or our wife or whatever. We know damn well that it's not. But because if we spent 6 months with this person, they gave us 1 month of fun, 5 months of hell, we hold on to that 1 month. Like, I want to get back to that. I want to chase that. Yep. The person showed you who they were for 5 months. That was the representative that you had fun with.
And then we also have to understand that, like, the person you met at this point is not that same person 6 months down the line, is not that same person 6 years down the line. And you have to always reevaluate, are we, as those people who are constantly changing, evolving, are we still in this the way that we should be in this for whatever those initial reasons were? Because your reasons are always going to change. What drives your relationship, or what makes it fun, or what makes it thrive, or what makes it, ultimately makes it flourish, is not going to always stay the same as when you first decided that, hey, we're gonna do this together.
Right.
It's not. I mean, I think that's based on, from like dating, committed relationships, all the way through marriage, is that things don't always stay as they once were. Like you said, that high. Yeah, we reached that point, but who were we at that point?
Yeah.
So, you know, how you're deeming like you being happy in a relationship ultimately is not going to fall on that person, because if we're always deeming what our happiness in our relationship is based upon that person, we're going to stay unhappy because we're human. We're not, you know, free from fault, you know? So if that's the case, somebody gonna always piss you off, always gonna make you mad, because that person, again, is growing, is learning, is changing, and you may or may not be able to keep up with it. And it's up to you to decide, okay, so are we gonna keep doing this or not?
But can we be honest though, to be real quick?
Yeah.
Who teaches us about relationships?
Nobody.
I mean, who teaches us how to be in a healthy situation? A lot of times we all are just trying to figure this thing out the best we can.
Absolutely.
A lot of trial and error. And so we can't be so hard on ourselves or anything like that. We just don't want to make that mistake that cost us X amount of dollars or X amount of time or, man, pretty much, man, 3 or 4 mouths to feed. Then the mistakes we just don't really want to make. But other than that, we just try to do the best we can, because I don't have the blueprint on Sis. I don't have the blueprint on Cara. I don't have the blueprint on Nikki H. They all are human, individualized in their own right. They have their own desires. They have their own uniqueness. And so they have to find out what it is that makes them them. And a lot of that is trial and error.
Absolutely.
Okay. Something I want to pop in on real quick. When you said who teaches us, a lot of times it's what we see in our parents. Either we chasing what we thought was magical and wonderful, not knowing that mom and daddy went through to stay together for all those years, or we're looking at like, I don't want to be like my mama. You know, that's when our childhood trauma, it shows itself when we get into a relationship. That thing pops out right then.
It sure
if
can.
you want to know what somebody been through as a child, date them as an adult. You'll find all of the baby wasn't loved, wasn't hugged, wasn't valued, didn't get attention. Now we got a full-blown narcissist, or we got somebody that's afraid to let go. All of that. I mean, it's just like, oh, Lord, what happened? And you know, I'm just like, you're either chasing that, man, my mom and daddy was together for 30 some odd years. If they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And so you think this is it. Like you say, nobody's giving us a blueprint. We just going off of what we're seeing in our environment.
Right.
And, you know, or we're, you know, like your environment could be, you got a bunch of single aunties. It's just like, girl, we don't need no man.
Jesus.
So now here you are.
Lord. Hey, that right there. When we talk about red flags, that's one of the big ones right there. When you go into a household and you don't see that pretty much you the only hard leg sitting up in there, and then, man, it's a china cabinet. It's, man.
I don't know about that, because that's my family.
No, it's a picture of Martin Luther King on the wall, Billy D on the other one, and you just saying to yourself, my God, I mean, ain't no other dudes to talk to up in this thing. Then you got maybe 1 or 1.5 uncles. I said 1.5 now. That's what I said. So my point is that you say to, I'm like, dang, man, I ain't got nobody to reach. So there's going to be a mentality that develops out of that tribe, out of that culture. And you have to prepare yourself when you go into those moments.
To some extent.
You talk about wrong fit. That may not be the right fit for you.
It might not be.
I say that ain't film, sis.
No.
Family like that. Because it's a whole bunch of single
balance.
Here. Because y'all the problem. No, I'm playing. But no, when she mentioned something about a narcissist, you were like, oh no. So James, what you got to say about that? You know, with the narcissist word?
I mean, there's certain mental health is a sexy item term today. And so we get on buzzwords where, okay, narcissist, you know, oh, he's just a narcissist. I'm like,
they are. I feel like we have the terminology and the verbiage now, but they've been around, but niggas just now being able to describe exactly who they are. Like,
and I mean, I get that to a certain extent. I mean, but sometimes, man, it's indicative of it's masculine by preference or by order. I'm like, nah, let's, man, flip that a little bit. There are both sexes and both genders who can attribute or exhibit narcissistic personality disorder. It's out there. And so, but the thing is that we as individuals, if I'm self-aware and I know, man, what I like, what I don't like, what I'm going for, what is not going to happen, I know, man, pretty much if she can balance a checkbook, and if she can, Shannon, I got to talk to you about that later. But if she can do a host of different things and stuff like that, I'm flowing, I'm throwing on different ideas right here. But if she can do a host of different things, then that's what compliments me. or so like that. It's like a video I was watching where a guy who was talking about how he said he was tricked into marriage, but all of a sudden he got into marriage, and then the monogamy came, and then all of a sudden he wasn't able to enjoy himself because his wife didn't have the same sex drive as him. I'm like, well, damn, we didn't find that out before. You know, and so these are things that you got to kind of uncover, unfortunately, beforehand, and you got to do your homework.
Especially if it's important to you, absolutely.
Exactly.
But for him, how you just find out that her sex drive is low when you get married?
That's a marriage.
Something that you feel is very important for you in your relationship, then it's up to you to decide or to talk to that person about finding those type of things out.
Yeah.
Or two sides to that. Before you got married, you was used to running these streets with multiple women. Now you got to focus on one, and that one ain't enough for you.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Narcissistic, what you were saying, having a preference doesn't make you a narcissist.
Right.
What makes you a narcissist is the absence of empathy,
right,
and the manipulation. So that's what we're talking when we say narcissist. Like when you got to manipulate somebody so bad to get your way, and you just have that complete and total loss of empathy for just anything else unless it deals with you. That's what checks your box.
Keyword.
You know, so that part, that's something where you like, damn, I thought we was a good fit, because like Shayna said, representative in town, we done fooled around with the representative for too long. The real real you is kind of funny. I ain't rocking with him.
Hold up, sis. But see, now I got to push back on you a little bit on that, Cara. Because when I find women who come and say that kind of thing to me, and they was like, you know, I just found out, man, that my ex-husband, he was a narcissist. I'm like, so when did you find this out? Well, I realize now that, you know, there were some little signs in the beginning or so like that. Oh, okay. So you saw signs in the beginning of it, but you just didn't choose to do anything about it, though. You know, you knew that he didn't have a lot of empathy. He loves to talk about himself, you know, and there wasn't anything he can do for you other than make you a cold ham sandwich on a Saturday night. So that's what you figured, and you said to yourself, and you was okay with that. You was cool with that. Don't come complaining to me about a narcissist at that point in time like that. You signed up. You said okay. I'm just saying.
Those signs.
They romanticized that cold ham sandwich. They had romanticized that one night when they made up and watched the movie. He made the ham sandwich. They romanticized that for 6 months, thinking that he gonna do it again. When in reality, like you said, it wasn't the right fit, and that's a whole nother topic of people ignoring the things that are right in front of you because you have selective memory or selective behaviors that you like. Yeah. You know, you look at the 2 good things they do well. Like we talked about in part 1. If a person has a list of 10 things that are non-negotiables, you have certain things that, they may get 8 of those things, but those 2 other things are very detrimental that you don't need to. Those other 8 things are washed out. So say you got your list of 10 things. One of them is you realize this person is a narcissist. Everything that they do is about them. The other one may be that they got 6 kids and one of them is 2 months, but he fine. So you want to still fuck with him, even though you know he's definitely still fucking the baby mama. And then you mad when he's cheating on you with the baby mama. So my thing is, when it comes to stuff like that, for women that decide even to walk down the aisle because you don't want to pick me gets picked, because these days women are just so eager to say, oh, I got a husband, I got a ring, I got this. When your husband ain't shit, that ring ain't shit, and you knew it wasn't shit before you did it, but you just said you wanted to do it. So that's how you wind up. That's just one of the situations with the narcissist when you knew you shouldn't. So, and of course that can go both ways. Men and women are narcissists. But I think that goes back to not being the right fit. That person knew it was not the right fit, and that's when they wind up on your couch 9 months after saying I do, trying to figure out, like doing a Deborah Cox challenge, asking how you feel. Well, is it quicker? Is it 2 months after the wedding?
Right.
Look, you ain't even finished paying off the chapel yet, and the priest. And man, you already on the couch like that. I'm just saying, I'm like, whoa, hold up, now something's off with this one right here. You know, and I just don't get it. It's like, okay, let's go back to the origin story of this. When did you realize that this dude was exhibiting behavior that was not conducive to what you're doing? And I'm looking.
Pose that question. I want to ask that. Tell me, y'all think back to a situation when you was in it and you knew that this person wasn't exhibiting behavior conducive to what you wanted in a relationship. How soon did you identify it? I'll go first. I identified it within, I'll say, 3 months of dealing with a person. And I stayed around for almost a year.
I'm gonna say same, very similar. That 90-day mark is when comfort starts setting in. Your guards are laid down. You done probably smashed a couple times, so now it's fresh and new. It's kind of you got used to it. So now you looking around the room a little more, and you're like, damn, this nigga really ain't gonna watch these tabs. And he really, okay, so same sheets, bruh. You know what I mean? You start kind of picking apart and looking at certain little things, and then you really start kind of listening outside of infatuation. Yeah. Once infatuation leaves the room, the eyes become open. Yeah. Because now everything that's been romanticized, you're like, all right, that's cute, that's cool. What's next? Yeah. Women, our mind immediately goes to, and men too, what's next? Yeah. Like, what else you got? And when the what next starts dying down, now you're looking at, damn, what is? Yeah. And now, boom, here's everything. I mean, I applaud the person that can find somebody on the first few, unless you are absolutely insane and horrible. And we all run into those on the first date. You're like, girl, I could have punched this nigga in his face. But we've all ran into those. Like, girl, I went to the bathroom 10 minutes and walked straight to the exit. Like, I got to go to the bathroom, take purse and keys. Good day. Yeah, I know. We all been those red flags. Right. Like, all right, I may let this one slide by. I'm going to let him know. I'm going to address it and let him know where I stand, and he's going to correct it. And it gets corrected for a little bit, and then boom, here we are, back in the habit. Yeah. Because it's who they are. It's at the core. Yeah. I think ultimately that does come down as a part of choosing the better fit, is doing better with that and understanding that it's not a loss. You really won if you're able to realize within a window that the person was not it. Like, get out now. You may have a little bit of feelings in, but you ain't got as many. I don't care if you are in love. Still, you ain't as in love. Get out. The sooner, the freaking better. So I want to ask this, what are some things that you all think we are trying to avoid that causes us to stay long after we should have been gone? Now, we already talked a little bit about we don't want to feel like a failure, or we want to feel like we won. What are things we're trying to avoid? I feel like one of them for me was I was just trying to avoid really being lonely. I think being single is a disease. Being single is fun, like 85% of the time, but you got a 15% window where you like, this shit for the birds. Like, I just rather stay with this nigga than be home by myself baking cookies and drinking eggnog for Christmas. So what would you all say some things have been that you all think people try to avoid and makes them stay much longer when it's not the right fit?
Laziness.
Everybody ain't lazy now.
Laziness. Hey, look, I've had this conversation with guys or so like that. They get to a certain point where they'll say like, well, man, damn, I done been with her this long and I might as well try to make it work or anything like that. Man, you ain't really even feeling her like that or so like that. Y'all don't hardly have sex or anything like that. You got somebody on the side. She got somebody on the side. Matter of fact, y'all showed up at the same restaurant at the same time, man, and paid the check. And matter of fact, you tipped her girl or something like that at that point in time. My point is that it's garbage. It's like you late because now you feel like, well, I might as well just stick in here because I probably don't never get anything better than this. But national research says that sometimes within 3 years, men marry other women after they divorce. Sometimes we have these ideas, these premises about that maybe I should just settle down or I should just stay where I'm at right there. When all the contrary, man, be who you are before it gets even more destructive.
So basically we're here holding each other hostage.
Exactly.
Situation going on. And not wanting to let nobody go. Just holding on. Hold on.
I think people just don't, like he said, people really fear starting over. It's like say you've been dealing with somebody.
Nikki, we're going to put a fork in it right there. We're going to come back with the next part. And we're back. So, Nikisha, you were saying in the last segment, you were saying that people fear the unknown. Tell us more about that.
No, it's more like people fear of the point of having to start again. So say you've been in a relationship for 5 years, right? You've known 6 months into it, it's not really that big of a deal, but we still gonna rock with it. Let's see what happens. So you in it for 5 years, and that's when you hit that point of, well, I might as well stay. And that's when you decide to either move to marriage or move in together or whatever, because people don't want to start that whole dance over again. Right. Like if you're 5 years older at this point, and we all know we're all at, you're at that mid-age. We're not, in college anymore. You're like full-blown adults. Nobody wants to think that, okay, I didn't waste my time with this. Let me just stay here where I know what it's like versus me getting back out there and then trying to figure out what that's like out there. I mean, and it happens. It happens to all of us. Like you said, lonely, you don't want to start over. Or I've even encountered people like trying to keep up with what their friends have. So you don't want to look like you're the only one that doesn't have a successful relationship, or you're the only one that's not moving towards marriage. So I just think that those are two really major reasons why us as women or people as a whole decide to like just hang on to something that's just not working anymore.
And I think because the society, social media, all that stuff, like we see people get married, we see people having kids, we feel like we're still single. We feel like, unfortunately, we get pressure from family and friends. When you gonna have a baby? When you gonna get married? Like niggas is just hanging from like you gonna pick a nigga from a tree outside. Like it don't work like that, And I think that I love that easy, but we act like it is, and it's like. But what's crazy with all of that is the constant theme that I continue to hear is, we fear the unknown. We don't want to be single. We know that this man or woman ain't shit, but we still stay. So is it just that everybody just needs some real strong therapy so we can get to the space where inherently we can be alone with our damn self until the right person come along?
We all have to do the work. You're responsible for whatever relationship you decide to embark upon. Right. Because at the end of the day, if I don't work on Nikisha, if I don't work on what gets me up every day, all of the things the goals that I have and, what drives me, what motivates me, and whatever my other type of relationships are. And if I don't know what it is I am desiring from a partner, a lifelong partner, then I can't come to a relationship and think that it's going to be successful because I didn't do my own work. And so I'm not asking the questions. I'm not seeing the flags. I'm not knowing when it's time for me to make my exit, if that's appropriate for that situation. And so all that, honestly, like, yes, we could blame that other person and whatever it is that they have going on that doesn't line up with me. But at the end of the day, I'm responsible for me. That is, and how I decide to move in that space, how I got in that space, and when I decide to leave that space.
What do you say, counselor, therapist? Why do we keep signing up for stupid shit? Like, we know the problem. We know the resolution to some extent. And for some of it is we have to do the work that we aren't willing to do because some people aren't, meaning like the self-work, the therapy, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So why do we keep doing this to ourselves? It's almost like we giving ourselves our own unhappiness to some extent.
Yeah, because a lot of times we are doing that. A lot of times when you actually, I've heard women who sat on the couch and said that I don't really want to go deep because I'm afraid of what might come up. I'm afraid of all the things that I'm going to have to unearth. Sometimes it can be the abusive relationships that they have had, whether it's verbally, emotionally, or physical. Sometimes it could be whether it was the attachment issues that happened or formed when they were children or so like that. And so when you have to go and relive all those different experiences and start to process and work through it, then it's like, I don't want to do that today. This is too strange. I got to go to work in the morning. Scary. I got some things that I got to do. It's scary. It's frightening or anything like that. However, though, when we start to get through those different things and learn more about who we are as individuals, I think that is the first, it's not the only thing, but it's the first domino that drops that gets us to where we want to be ultimately so that you can love yourself more than I titled this like this. Having someone be responsible for your own happiness is like giving someone a Nintendo joystick and telling them to control it over and over again. Push A, B, up, down, back, right. So that it'll work in that type of way or manner. That's foolish. That is idiotic. But unfortunately, our society has socialized us to some extent and taught us that, man, that is the way to go about these things. And now it seems like, man, we're somewhat coming out of it, somewhat, man, able to do better. But being consistent in a therapeutic process, I don't think a lot of people understand what that means, because it's going when you don't want to go, when you don't feel like. It's like going to the gym. You go when you don't want to go. You know, you get yourself amped up to continue the process even when you don't see the overall effects happening in that. And that's what hampers us a lot of the times.
You said a good thing right there. You said about society, how it conditions us. Look at the world we live in now. It's so fake. Everybody is living their best life on social media. And then, you know, all of a sudden, they ain't showing up in none of the pictures no more. And it's just like, hey, life is moving on. It's the image that just, I think this time period in our lives is going to kind of haunt us. It's going to haunt the generations to come. Because we're not going to know how to live outside of this whole spectrum of how the world sees me.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to be held slave to that. Our generation has set this in course for unhealthy everything going forward. Just even self-perception. Like, how do I see myself without a filter?
Right. Woo.
You know, it's setting these things in course for relationships. How do people see my relationship? They got to think that we look perfect. All these, you know, Instagram, you know, these are a couple goals, everybody's relationship goals. And then you find that he's punching her in the face. And
he putting his foot in the tail every night. You said a mouthful right there. Every night, man, he beating her upside down. He making her touch every wall in the house. And that's unfortunate, because that's what younger people are aspiring to go after. They're looking to pursue that image. And unfortunately, that's where we do our worst bidding at that point in time. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, how do you find what your fit is in such a fake society?
Well, I think that comes back to the core of what we said earlier and what we talked about in part one. You have to be willing to do the work. And we talked about what the work looks like is, one, being able to get to the root of, you know, therapy and why you need to be there, and treating therapy like dating, going on a couple of tangos until you find one that fit the right foot. You know, that's what you got to do. Therapy also looks like being able to be in a position where you're able to be honest with yourself and with your person to know, like, am I ready for this relationship? Am I ready for a relationship? Am I in that space? But also being able to recognize that if the person I'm dealing with, if they are showing me that they are not my person, they're showing me that they're narcissists, they're showing me that they're abusive, not just physically, they're showing me that they don't want to spend time with me, stop trying to force it. You know, stop trying to make this person who you are. Also doing the work.
They can't balance a checkbook.
Exactly. They're terrible with finances. You know, the other part is, you know, looking at on the other side of it, being emotionally mature. Can they have a solid conversation? Can they understand it as if I'm emotional about something, you know, they just don't ignore me or feel like I'm overreacting just because I want to have a conversation about something, you know? Another part of that is, you know, being honest about, you know, what your real deal breakers are or your non-negotiables are, and standing by those. So I think ultimately the way we break it, yes, you're 1,000% correct that society and social media and all that stuff paints a beautiful picture that many people aspire to, especially generations like in their 20s, you know, much younger than us. But even some of us are guilty of it. But I think in order to be able to move away from that, there's nothing wrong with being a couple that looks nice online. But I hope you look nice on the inside. I hope you look nice off of Instagram. I hope y'all treat each other with kindness, you know. So I think ultimately, in order to get away from that, in which everybody's not going to, because some people okay with that fake shit, you know, or some people don't know how to do anything else. I think you got to be able to put in the work on various levels and recognize that after you could put in the work with somebody and it could still not work. They could still not be your person. And you got to be okay with it.
I got a quick question.
We all got to be on Marion.
So,
and feel no way, baby. And feel no way.
When we have this list, of non-negotiables, and you got your homeboys or so like that, they're around and they make the comments, you know, everybody ain't gonna be perfect. Some things, man, that you gonna see that they're gonna come with a little bit, and you got to kind of deal with that. Is that somewhat the first strike or the first impetus in us lowering our guard at that moment?
Let me tell you something. If you talking about this nigga fingernails too long, he need to clip them. That's one thing. I ain't talking about I went over his house and this nigga nasty, or he got dirt up on his fingernails every time I seen him. Or I'm talking about at the end of the day, he is not like he makes good money. He does well with his money, but he's not the greatest at balancing the checkbook. I can help you with that, but I ain't talking about somebody get a check and then 2 days later they asking me to borrow $160. Ask me for crackhead.
Hello.
Like, what you gonna do with $160? You know, so I think it comes down to it's not about saying a person's not gonna be perfect. You perfectly imperfect for me because I can deal with it. Like, I know my head was spinning around like the exorcist when you leave the toilet seat up. So you know that Shayna look crazy about that. So let me get that together. Versus you ain't coming here in my bathroom nasty or I don't wash my ass or some shit like that. So I think you got to find what that imperfection is. The level is levels to it. You know, you got level 1 normal, you got level 10 disgusting. So you got to figure it out. So when men or whoever's saying that shit, you got to dive deeper into that. Because, nobody going to be perfect in the sense they're going to get every single thing right. I don't care who nobody is. It's probably, Jesus probably could come to earth right now and do some shit that's going to irritate me. But
you right all the time. You just perfect, huh?
Like
little Mr. Perfect, huh?
Right, little Mr. Perfect.
I guess I'm wrong. Right. I'm wrong all the time. You know, and I think Shayna, a little something where we talk about. I think we look at the big things. Sometimes it's the little bitty things where you're not the right mix of serious and silly for me.
Yeah.
You just fucking childish all the time. Yeah. And that's just annoying.
Wow. Been there.
Versus, hey, you know how to carry a conversation and hold your weight in the room. I like that. That's attractive to me. Versus we come in the room with other adults and you on your damn phone acting like you can't socialize, or you don't know how to carry yourself. You don't know how to match my energy. And hell, or better yet, you don't know how to read a fucking room. If I got an attitude and, you come in here plucking on my ear and shit, you may get floored. I may hit you right in your damn chest. Right. So
why you gotta be talking to me like that, Cara? Why you gotta be talking to me like that? Why you gotta be talking to me like that? You ain't gotta...
All right, James. But we hit some. We start talking about what is the right fit for you? Like sometimes it ain't the big things like being clean and being neat. It may come down to the little bitty tweaks and difference in personality.
Yeah.
I may rock with you. The thing may be good. We may be just, compatible there. But when the lights come on, I'm like, this nigga is dumb as a box of rocks. I just realized this. Keep talking circles. What was intriguing before, now I just say he's a conspiracy theorist. Yeah. Or now I just think that, he believed everything online. Yeah. It's a script. Yeah. None of this is real. So it comes down to little things like that.
Yeah. And I think also what you said, you realize a nigga just goofy as fuck, goofy. But or somebody that believe everything Trump say, then I really can't trust you. So
that's on your list.
Yeah. But I think that seriously, you got to look at all of that stuff. It's not always the big stuff. It's the little stuff. Like you said, reading the room or reading me. Like you come in the house, what my attitude face look like, and you see I got attitude like. Be concerned. Ask me what's wrong. And I tell people all the time, you showing concern and asking me what's wrong may help me feel better. I don't know. It may or may not. But you want to come in here cracking jokes, trying to be out, nah, that's not going to work. So, people got to look at, it could be physical. It could be mental. It could be emotional, tapping in with that. It could be spiritual. Because I've dealt with people that, when as far as my spirituality, I'm a Christian, I believe in God, I like to go to church, I like to go to Bible study, and they just really felt like, and which I ain't knocking nobody, if you don't want to go to church, that's your thing. But I've had people tell me like, well, I feel like what they be talking about at church, like, I know that already. Okay, well, I'm not going to...
All right, Pastor Troy.
Yes.
Real life Pastor Troy, honey. Yeah. And you step foot in the church, but you a pastor.
I literally had a nigga say some shit like that, like, I already know what the pastor going to say. All right, well, I'm not going to help you get into heaven when you come up there trying to get in. Like, I'm going to tell you, stay down with that. Like, you can't get in here. So.
Yeah. I mean, I had the same thing where I'm out with a lady one night, and then we talking, and all of a sudden, she wasn't college educated, and she was like, man, I think college is just a racket. I mean, I think, I'm thinking, she says like, it's a hustle, man. People don't need college. They get all that debt and everything is all screwed in the end. I'm thinking to myself, damn, college is help paying for this damn dinner we had right now, man. And you want to come talk to me about some bullshit like that?
Right. You gotta watch what you say. Like,
be respectful of the person. Like, you dating me, I went to college. So you can basically shit on my whole situation. Like,
yeah.
Or the people when they find out I'm a therapist and like, I think that therapy is just it's a bunch of bullshit. I'm like, okay. And so therapy, that's why we sitting in a hotel right now that therapy paid for. It paid for this night, it paid for the drinks, it paid for the dinner, it paid for the show, it paid for everything else that's going on around this. And guess what? Tomorrow it'll pay for something else. Matter of fact, crack my iPad out, man. I'm about to see a session, 45 minutes, man. There we go. And now all you want to do is do it like that. And I'm just saying to myself, this motherfucker. And that's what I'm saying. Finding out things like that about different individuals is when you should just say, run. It's like, because that's a point of no return after that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's when people, the leveling, that's an annoying thing to me. Like when you know something about me and you mention it in a way to almost level me to who you are.
Yeah.
Nigga, you knew I was a therapist when you clicked the swipe left. Can't even get this shit out. But you saw my profile. You knew what I was.
You already knew what I was.
I think, well, you should have kept it moving. Yeah. So it's like, don't try to level me to who you are and try to make it seem like I'm a less than in your eyes because it's something that you don't like. If I'm not your fit, that's fine. Keep it pushing.
Yep.
There's something you know up front. You know, I'm upfront about a lot of things. Yeah, I'm like, hey, family first, love my kids. I'm not one of those females that says, or women that says, I don't like other women. Like, I have a strong female circle. I got a strong group of women around me. Yeah. So it's like, you know, those are things like that. And, you know, you hear guys kind of allude and say the stuff, and you're like, that's not me. Yeah, I don't think I fit that. I don't fit what you're looking for. Right. That's perfectly fine. I don't have to be everybody's flavor, everybody's cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever. And that's something we have to do better with, accepting when somebody says you're not my fit, not taking it like as a threat, attack, or something wrong with you. Now, baby girl, you good. King, you good. Adjust your crown. Yeah. They save you time. They save you a lot of time. I wish we were a lot bolder in saying that early on. Men and women. Because sometimes these folks, dusty sons, be wasting our damn time. And, you know, and they know it. Yeah. You know it. You know you got a good woman and you just dragging her ass along for the ride because you ain't got shit else better to do.
She out here chasing you like she the feds, my nigga. So, like, what
I feel you.
We doing? But I think it comes down to being bolder and being more assertive and asking for what we want. And when we don't get it, to exit stage left. We got to be willing to suffer. If you want to call it the consequences of waiting for what we want, because they say a lot of times if you do want to wait for what you want and get that, you may be single a little bit longer than the average bear. And you got
that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. It's a whole lot better, man, than being in a situation where it's just hell bells all the way. No.
You're on hell day. Every night is hell day.
Hell day, man. You can't get laid on Labor Day. That's crazy right there, man. I just don't understand that. I'm just saying.
How would you live?
I'm just saying. I'm like, wait a minute now. Like, we got to adjust this situation real quick, man, because I ain't built like that. So, but yeah.
So I want to ask y'all, honestly, if you all had to self-assess, do you all think you're in a space right now where if you had to choose your forever person right now, you would be able to choose wisely?
When is this airing?
She said, you know, look.
In the space of
we got to try here. It's live, James. It's live.
We live today.
Oh, shit.
Soon as she press stop.
February the 8th, 2021.
Somebody gonna be upset about this one.
Don't say no crazy shit you want to do.
Nah, I ain't in that space right now.
I'm scared to say yes to anything while 2020 is lingering around. So
2020 is gone.
Because 2020 is a thief in the night, baby. A thief of joy.
New year, a new day. 2020 is like, we might be somewhere in the bushes waiting to come back and attack us, you know.
It's a thief of joy, baby. So I'm a decline the answer on that.
It's a hard no for you, Cara. You won't be able to choose wisely.
I don't think so, because like, if anything, this year has been the most transparent year of my life. And it's like, I think just the universe forced us into isolation to see ourselves better.
I agree with you on that.
When you're seeing ourselves better, now you're like, whoa, I really gotta take my time and really think and really self-assess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even looking outside, it's looking inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So knowing me, I'm still self-assessing. I don't know. I can't even pick the right flavor Kool-Aid some days. I'm like, this ain't Shayna Kool-Aid. I must be missing half a pound of sugar, something. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Most days I can't, you know, and that's being honest, because this year has thrown so many curveballs, and everything that you thought to be true, it's like everything is ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
Band-Aids came off, the mask came off this year, everything. It's just like a full exposure year. So absolutely not. I don't think I would be, because hell, can't tell up from down what's real or fake this year. Yeah. Everything is it's crazy. So it's a hard no for me, sis.
You got to hit the reset button. James, what would you say? Nikisha, I'm going to go with the ladies first. What would you say? Would you be able to choose?
I can't say for certain I could choose my person, like my forever person exactly. I will say that I agree with Cara saying about how this year has taught you to like reflect, but it has allowed me to quickly discern when enough is enough for me. You know, like in that it's inward, yes, but as far as outward, I've been able to do that exact same thing, and it hasn't caused me emotional issues. I mean, I'm okay with decisions I make in that regards to like your personal life, so I can discern more of what's coming to me as far as like a genuine way. So it's like I can see that, or be able to choose on that, or know more of myself to know what it is that I want as my match, but to say for certain that I could spot that person right now.
We're gonna leave it at that.
We still there. We still working.
James, what would you say?
I would say no, because I haven't really even fully spotted me. There's so much stuff that I'm learning in this day and time about me and what I enjoy, what I like, the individuals I like to be around, who inspires me, you know, who challenges me, who pushes me, and the individuals who just something that's there and then 2 or 3 months later, man, they're gone. They're a ghost in the wind because it just wasn't meant to be. It just wasn't happening. And so once you begin to learn your process and then you begin to analyze it, you know, critically analyze it and, you know, put it out there again, then analyze it even more. And I know it may seem redundant, but what it is when you do the work works for you. And that's what I'm enjoying about this moment, because I'm enjoying being in spaces where I'm content in being me, as opposed to trying to fit an image that I was chasing. Now, I used to chase chases me now. And it's the funniest thing, because you never think in your life you would get to that spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Very
I'm pleading the fifth.
Now you pleading the fifth.
I got the right to do that, you know, so.
Hey, that's a smart move. Don't make no decision just yet. Like I say, you be like, nah, and then 2020 be like, oh yeah? Well, let me throw soulmate in your path at Publix tomorrow. And then on December 31st, snatch him away with his six kids and a wife. You know what I'm saying? Surprise.
No.
Gotcha, bitch. You smart, Shayla. Don't answer.
Look,
Don't answer.
On that note, we're coming right back with the Living Single segment.
This now brings us to the Living Single segment of the podcast. It's simply a segment where we want to send you good vibes, good energy, and give good advice on any questions that you may have about being single, dating, or relationships. Remember, nothing is off limits. So, welcome to the Living Single segment of the show, and let's get into it.
All right, so now this brings us to the Living Single segment, and today's question is from Facebook. So it says, I decided to enter the world of online dating and have had decent luck with it. I've been on a few dates and had a good time with a few guys. However, I have a dilemma. I matched with 2 guys on 2 different apps, and I know the guys are best friends. Okay. I like them both and want to keep hanging out with them both, but how do I proceed so that this does not become a problem down the road if I catch feelings for one or vice versa towards me? Am I really just being trifling? Help me, please. So what y'all think? What y'all got to say to help this young lady?
Yes.
Well, is she being
charged?
I'm so sick of this. She here for a kind of a long time, my nigga.
But if it happened to her, it'd be like, this nigga, he was trying to date my homegirl. Same time, he foul, he a dog, he this, he that. Okay. And it's almost like, dating is one of those things. You're not committed and locked in, but you do have to look at the full landscape of what you're doing now, and if it was done to you.
Yeah.
But I think, you got to be upfront with it. Now, do they know? What's her? I don't know what her.
Right now, they don't know.
Is. Nobody knows that she's, I guess, dating or just talking.
Basically talking. She going on dates with him, but she going on dates with both of them. And eventually, if it keep going, somebody gonna say something. Yeah, I fuck with this girl named Keisha. I fuck with this girl named Keisha. Like, somebody gonna say something eventually.
Yikes.
I think, I don't think you trifling yet if you're just getting started, but it could turn into triflism if you keep going.
Or sis got the master game plan. Sometimes you end up with the one and you meet the crew and be like, golly,
look,
I jumped off the porch too quick. I should have waited to meet cousin Ricky, because this man, right? Okay. Maybe sis got the master plan. Right. Maybe we thinking about it wrong. Maybe we loyal to folks that ain't loyal to us.
Right. But you say, James, from a man's perspective, is she being trifling or what? Like, what should she do?
From both ends, I don't know anything. Keep dating. That's what I say. Keep dating. Keep seeing the situation how I'm plans and unfolds out. Because if she keeping this thing up for 6, 8, a year or so like that, we need to call her Houdini. Because, man, she got all kinds of tricks going on. I'm just trying to say,
Or she going to have to bring them into the room together because guys talk.
But my whole point is that we didn't get a time frame on any of this. We don't know how long she's been talking to both of them at the same point in time. I think eventually everything comes to a head. Eventually, at some point.
So that this does not become a problem down the road. So it sounds like it's pretty early.
Right, exactly.
You have to be if you know, like for me, so say us. So the three of us were all cool. And if we out in these streets and of course we talk all the time and we could just throw somebody's name out there and it could be somebody we just met, it don't have a time frame on when you start discussing people with your friends. Right. And then it comes up that way. But for me, I would prefer, just be transparent. You don't owe nothing to nobody, but you be like, look, none of us are in a relationship together, but it's like you have to come to terms to the point that you may end up with nobody because you're dating.
I use humor.
Friendship may be, a good friendship. They may decide now we're just gonna fall back off you. Both of us are. So,
or you can use a little humor, like, "Hey, I think I'm dating your cousin." Totally. Anyway, so what's our family reunions be like? I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there.
Which one y'all want to have with? Who your cousin?
No. I'm just saying, how y'all know, man, the guys already don't know. And they be like, hey, look, man, I'm about to do this, and then you about to do that, and man, we about to have some fun with this, man. Hey, look, she got some good. Because sometimes guys do talk. And man, and it could go down like that.
She does not know if they don't already know. So that's the risk.
Right.
The second
that's the risk.
They couldn't know. Yeah. Since you might need to get out. Well,
they might be having fun with. They might have fun with her.
You don't want to think you coming up and all of a sudden the joke on you.
Absolutely.
And hey, all you done got was a Coach bag and a meal. When all along, they've been playing you for everything. So I agree with James. You just don't know. And like I said, it's just one of those situations that, say if it turns into something, now you always looking back on how you started.
Yeah.
Man, you open the floodgates for so much other foolishness.
If you choose cousin one, you should have chose cousin two. That's the one other thing.
Yeah.
That's the one.
I think it would be better if we had more of a time frame, or did you know? When did you find out that you were dating friends?
Joke's on you.
We have right now. We got to give a decision. So, is she being trifling? We're going to say yes, she is. And what do y'all say? How does she need to move forward? Does she need to kind of continue to date them and then make a decision down the road? Or does she need to cut somebody out? I say continue fucking with them both, sis.
If you don't see, look, if you don't see no future in it, keep going. If you don't see no future in it, you just trying to do it for fun, keep going. But if you really want something meaningful,
you in there for a good time.
Hopefully you in your 20s.
But I just say, call it what it is. So when it blows up or when it comes to a head, either you're going to address it, listen to me, sis, either use humor or deny. You're going to have to laugh it off and be like, for real? Oh, shit. I was just out here, I was out here living my life. I didn't even know that on Facebook, which I stalked you and liked all your pictures, that was the same dude. My bad. I didn't even know. Y'all both a good time. We should all hang out. Or just be like, what? Yeah, so you gonna believe him? You know him how long? Your whole life? Damn, that's a long time.
Your own eyes, my nigga. So that's what it is. Use humor. Do what you guys do to get up out of there. And if y'all want advice from To Be Single or Not To Be, make sure y'all visit the website, www.tobesingleornot2be.com, or you can write us on Instagram or Facebook. And on that note, we'll be right back with the resolution. All right. So now this brings us back to the resolution segment where we're going to just do a quick roundtable discussion on this topic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know, what are your final thoughts in regards to what people have to do to resolve the issue of matching with people that are just not their people? So basically, what do people need to change in order to get it right? Or what do people need to keep doing in order to eventually get it right? You can answer on either side of the spectrum, and Cara will begin with you.
I'm going to use a little Jesse Jackson-ism oh, man, I lost it. Don't be afraid to quit if it ain't your fit. Hello, somebody. But I think that speaks to don't live in fear when it comes to your life. Take ownership of things, take ownership of your happiness. And if something is not feeling right, not fitting right, don't be afraid to take that big girl, big boy step and just step out. James, I'm learning and gaining a lot of energy from him with just the way that he's approached, like, hey, don't be stupid. Don't be lazy. Get up. Don't be scared. Yeah. 2020, this ain't the year for all of that. You step out and you never know what's going to happen. So for me, I think that's it. Like, noticing and recognizing those red flags early, not living in fear. And if it doesn't fit, just quit.
It doesn't fit. I love it. And on that note, I know Cara has to drop off from us. So thank you so much for your opinion and insight. And we will have you on later. I already know. So,
all day.
James, what would you say?
I would say basically be your most authentic self at all times. Assert yourself in every situation as much as possible. Sometimes you may have grown up in a situation that didn't teach you or didn't model the correct behavior for you to follow under, but you don't have to stay there with that mentality. Find yourself people who can help you be your most authentic self in that point, because the fear in that moment is that if you don't, she'll still end up in a 3-point stance getting back shots from somebody else.
And Nikisha, last but not least, what would you say? I know that may be a little hard to come after.
I mean, yeah. So, but no, when it comes to how this whole conversation, I think for me, I would say that just recognize your own self-worth. So you are worth more than you just staying in something when you already see that it's something that's not good for you.
Right.
We have to treat ourselves better, and treating yourself better is recognizing when a situation is just not right for you overall. And that's okay. Right. And not using that one situation or situations, if you've run into this multiple times, as a determinant factor on the type of person you are. Right. It just may be the type of people that, are just not fitting well with you at that point in time. So, we all have to do our own work, and like you said, recognize when you are able to be in a relationship when you aren't. Because sometimes you may be forcing yourself to be with somebody that's not a fit. It's because you're not ready to be in a relationship.
Right. It's a whole lot of variables that go into it, but I absolutely agree with everything you guys have said, and just knowing that we got to do the work. And I think if we want to, since this is a podcast about relationships, we want to have better success in relationships. People, you guys have to do a better job at getting with the right person. And I'm not saying, like we talked about, nobody is absolutely perfect. Nobody's going to fit exactly in your puzzle piece. But ultimately, you can find somebody that you are very compatible with, somebody who's willing to put in the same amount of energy and effort that you're willing to, so that you don't wind up with somebody that's like polar opposites of you, that the only thing that you all have in common is that you're physically attracted to one another, you know, or maybe you work in the same profession or something like that. You like the same kind of movies, some kind of surface level bullshit. Take the time to get to know these people, but first take the time to get to know yourself so that you can show up and know who you are, so that when it comes to you meeting that other person, you two can be on the same page. So on that note, give yourselves a round of applause for an excellent episode. Your opinions are always valued and appreciated. We thank you so much for coming on the show. Nikisha, thank you for coming. Cara and James, thank you for coming. We absolutely have to have you back. Your opinion was outstanding. And on that note, we'll be right back with the Montana Minute.
And now this brings us to the Montana Minute. The first thing, they say honesty is the best policy, and if you're not being honest with yourself about who you're matched with, you could wind up trying to make a circle fit in a square, and that's going to be hella uncomfortable. The next thing, if you think you're matched with the right person, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And what I mean by that is, be willing to do the work that you may have never done before in order to get the results that you've never gotten before in the best way possible. And the last thing, as fun as love can be, it can be just as tricky. So don't trick yourself into thinking that you are just unlucky in love or all men are dogs when relationships are a cycle that goes both ways. Own your part in it and work towards finding the love that you deserve and truly desire. So be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at To Be Single or Not To Be so you can stay up to date with all of our podcast happenings. And now I leave you to decide, to be single or not to be. That is the final question. Signing off, yours truly, Shanna Montana.